Hello everyone, they're finished. At last, a new pair of sleeves to complete Lady Catherine's costume. And they're a style that's known as slashed sleeves. Very difficult to do. I've had to sew them all by hand, much as would have happened in her time, I think. It's a bit like sculpting with fabric. It's a fashion that started in 1477, when a group of Swiss soldiers had a great victory over Charles the Bold of Burgundy. After the battle, their clothes were all ripped to shreds. And it said what happened was they went into all the neighbouring towns and villages and they grabbed any sort of fabric they could get their hands on, tents and banners, whatever, and they stuffed it to fill up those holes in their clothes. And it started to become a sort of badge of honour, a symbol of military victory. And so soldiers all over Europe started to add deliberately slashes to their clothes. It became very popular, and it won't surprise you to know that it became very popular with our King Henry VIII. Well, it was rather macho, really, wasn't it? So we've got a portrait of Henry here, which I hope you can see, and he is showing off his rather fine slashed doublet and his slashed sleeves. And it's a great portrait because it shows us really clearly that he's wearing his fine linen shift underneath, and what they've done is just pulled bits of that fine linen through those slashes to create that slashed effect. Now, after a while, they think they can go a bit better than that. If they put really fancy fabric behind the slashes, they can pull that through and show it off. So everyone's wearing it, men and women. And if we get to the time of Queen Elizabeth I, Henry's daughter, well, she's a bit like her father. She likes to use her costume to create that image of magnificence and power. So here she is with some rather fantastic slashed sleeves. She's the warrior queen, isn't she? So no wonder she wants to dress like that. It stayed in fashion for quite some time, right through into the Stuart times, actually. And even when the first settlers got to the Americas, they had a law in Plymouth, in the Plymouth colony, which banned slashes and cut work and a few other things like fancy fabric. Because I suppose they were of rather a more Puritan turn of mind. In Stuart times, it became much more draped, so the slashes were much wider apart. You just saw that beautiful fabric underneath. So here we are. Lady Catherine has her slashed sleeves. This gown of hers, I sort of date it to around the late 1570s into the 1580s and probably beyond, because they made them do for quite some time. Now in the 1580s, of course, her dear boy, dear Walt, Sir Walter Raleigh, well, he was doing quite well with the Queen, wasn't he? Doing, you know, well for himself. So I like to imagine that Walt had some fancy sleeves made by a tailor in London, sent them down to Devon to his mum as a gift. Like to see you all again sometime. Bye bye.